comics, poor entertainment, poor news,
foodies watching movies,
adulting 80s,
Podcastrophe, the voice of survival,
kids for sale, Gallif Radio,
brews with dudes, journey into wrestling, journey into comics network, journeyintocomics.com.
The following
Journey into comics.
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 Journey into comics network.
Production.
Heritage. Warning. Podcastrophe imminent. This is Podcastrophe with Dick and Tyler. And Matt. Coming at you with a fistful of heritage on a podcast where anything goes and there are no safe spaces. This is Podcastrophe.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am your host, Dick, and welcome to Podcastrophe episode 69. I am joined here today by no one, because today is Christmas Day, and everybody's out doing their Christmas stuff with their families, and I'm here all alone at my house. My wife, Miranda, she had to work today, and we don't have the kids until a little bit later. I've been busy all weekend. We, immediately after work Friday, we went directly to Columbus, Ohio, where we spent the weekend with my mom and my brothers. It was a great weekend. You know, we had a pretty smooth ride down. I was honestly shocked at how well the kids were, because they're 4 and 5, and that's a 4-hour drive. That usually doesn't bode well for 4 and 5-year-olds and the parents. But luckily we had the power of technology on our side, and we had a DVD player in my car. We had like a portable headrest DVD player, but it dual screen, it's actually really cool. I didn't know that was possible, believe it or not, because I haven't really delved into the car DVD world. But regardless, we made it there. We had one stop. We stopped and got gas and some food along the way, and only managed to watch 2 movies the whole trip, which was awesome, because basically as soon as the second movie got over, we were in Columbus, and it was great. I think let me see what movies. Oh yeah, they watched The Lorax. Oh no, wait, that was on the way home. Spoiler alert. I know we definitely watched Incredibles 2, or they watched Incredibles 2, and they watched something else. I can't quite remember what it was. Oh yeah, Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph and Incredibles 2 on the way down. On the way back, they watched The Lorax and Finding Nemo. And, that trip itself, another smooth trip. We actually didn't stop at all heading home. In both of those movies, the Finding Nemo, the second movie, got finished as we were rolling into Lafayette. Couldn't have gone any smoother. That last 45 minutes of the trip, though, Miranda's daughter, Nazira, was quite a monster. She decided, as we passed through Lebanon, aka our last food stop, which I wouldn't have stopped regardless. It's Lebanon. It's half hour away from Lafayette. There's no point in stopping at that point. We might as well just keep going. But she decided to let us know she was hungry and then throw a fit because we weren't stopping. But there was nowhere to stop. So it's just pure ridiculous. But that is the life of a 5-year-old. Sometimes they don't really dig your choices, and they don't see the logic in your choices. And that's just part of being a kid. But anyway, back to the weekend, I had such a fantastic weekend. It's been a long time since I've had a Christmas quite like this. It's been a long time since I've really felt the Christmas spirit and, enjoyed being around my family. Not that I actually hate being around my family. It's just I'm more of a loner. more of a loner, and I stick to my friends and the people that are immediately around me, and I don't really spend a lot of time with my family. The most I really do is my dad eats lunch with me usually every week or every other week, depending on how his work schedule's going. But I had such a great time hanging out with my brothers, hanging out with my mom and her husband Tracy. It was just an all around good time. The kids loved it. Miranda loved it. They made cookies. My brother and I, we went out to we ventured out into Best Buy this weekend, and I bought my house a new dishwasher. Before that, however, we were upstairs playing Super Smash Bros. On his Switch, and I had been talking about getting a Switch, and Miranda basically forbid it, but she saw me playing it, and she was like, you know what, you're going to get it anyways. Like, what does it matter? Just go get it. I was like, okay. So I went out and got a Switch, along with Mario Kart 8 and Let's Go Pikachu. So there's that. I didn't really play it. I think I got a little set up that night after, because we went out and we saw some Christmas lights in the Columbus Commons, which wasn't a giant area. I was expecting a little more Christmas lights, but for like a little in town like walking park, it was really cool, like middle of downtown, really awesome light setup. It's cold. It was really cold, but alas, it was fun. We decided to venture onto the streets, where Tracy said that he knew of a great taco place. Apparently that taco place was completely gone. However, there was another place across the street that also happened to sell tacos. It wasn't the one he was talking about, but it was a taco place. Tio's Tacos and Tequila. Tequila optional for, underage people. So we had a hankering for tacos at that point. I specifically had a hankering for steak tacos. So we go in, and of course, they have steak tacos. So what do I get? I get steak tacos. If you remember last Monday on Journey into Comics, we came at you live from LaFiCon, the LaFiCon before Christmas, and we did an episode with Brian K. Morris, and I was introed into the show with a mouthful of steak tacos, brought to you by the Guac Box of Lafayette. Check them out. If you ever see the Guac Box out, definitely get yourself some steak tacos or chicken tacos or any of their food. It's all fantastic. But these steak tacos at Tio's were A1. They were great fucking tacos. I loved them. They also had great queso and great salsa. Miranda was complaining that the salsa was a little too hot. However, yeah, it was a little hot, but it wasn't overwhelmingly hot. Like, I had no complaints about it. I just kept eating it, which, if you know me, I'm not much of a hot person. I'm not much of a spicy or hot person, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It had enough tang to it that I could handle it. Like I said, the queso was great. The steak tacos were great. Oh my God. I ordered 5 steak tacos, with some extra cheese on them. And, man, my eyes were a little bigger than my stomach was, because I got to that 4th one and I'm like, man, that 5th taco, I really want it, but I know it's just going to destroy me. So I gave it to Tracy. He ate it. And I was quite satisfied. I didn't make myself utterly miserable. I just fulfilled my stomach. I was completely and utterly satisfied. It was a great taco. Those tacos. I can't say how awesome they were enough. But alas, we went home. I enjoyed some more cookies. I set up my Switch. I didn't play any games. Watched the Santa Claus. Oh, how I love that movie, The Santa Claus. That's such a great Tim Allen movie. The Santa Claus 2 kind of fell short, I mean, I was still a kid when it came out, but it still wasn't the same as the first one. I could tell it suffered to the modernization of Hollywood, like how the older generations always say they just don't make them like they used to, and I get it. You know, it's there's a difference in quality. Obviously, the picture is better, but I mean, I don't know. It's just they're not as hardy anymore, if that makes any sense at all. The films I watch nowadays are just not as hardy as they used to be. And it's so weird because acting has come such a long way, but regardless, it's just not the same. I don't get it. The story writing's not the same. I mean, I get it. I mean, you have to reuse and recycle a lot of concepts, a lot of stories, and like everything's basically already been written. Like, what stories are left to tell? But regardless, it's just not the same. But and then for whatever reason, after the Santa Claus was over, they completely skipped the second Santa Claus movie and went straight to the third one, which I've never seen. It stars Martin Short as Jack Frost, I believe, but I've never seen it. Don't really want to, because I just feared that they just further went down that modernization path and it just wouldn't be the same. It's like back in the day, I had when I was a young lad, we had the movie Air Bud, and then Hollywood made another Air Bud, and then made another Air Bud, and then they made the Air Buddies movies, which led into Space Buddies and Snow Buddies, and it's just like, let's milk this fucking dog as long as possible. As weird as that is to say, they milked the hell out of Bud. Oh, that's such an odd image, but yeah, it's. I feared that they basically did the same thing with the Santa Claus 3, the Escape Clause, despite still starring Tim Allen. Like, I'm a huge Tim Allen fan. I loved growing up with the Santa Claus and Home Improvement and all of his other movies. Like Joe Somebody, if you ever stars Hayden Panettiere, however the fuck you say her last name, as a young girl. Has oh man, I'm forgetting his name right now, and Patrick Warburton as the bully of the movie, the technical bad guy of the movie. I love Patrick Warburton. His voice is so fantastic. I mean, if you really want a great representation of Patrick Warburton and his voice, just watch The Emperor's New Groove. I don't care if you're an adult. That movie is fantastic. All those older Disney movies are fantastic. And I consider that, like, to me, like, golden age Disney was like all the, like the Beauty and the Beast, the Little Mermaid, Lion King, all that. And then we moved further down the line into, what I would refer to as the Silver Age. And I think The Emperor's New Groove falls into the Silver Age. Like, that's like El Dorado and all the Pixar movies. Despite the Pixar movies all being absolutely fantastic, I still put them in the Silver Age because they didn't really come first. That was like the next generation, and it's cool how like Disney's progressed. Like, they very rarely put out a bad cartoon flick for kids, you know, and especially Pixar. I don't think there's a Pixar movie I don't like. I honestly don't think there's a Pixar movie I don't like. But yeah, you know, that's my talk about Disney and movies and all that. So we woke up in the morning, and my mom made us some pancakes. We had some fantastic chocolate chip pancakes made with Ghirardelli fucking dark chocolate, which I'm not a dark chocolate person, but if you bake it with something, it's always good. I had it. Oh, those pancakes were so fluffy and so good. My mom makes fantastic pancakes. And shortly after that, we left, headed home, only to stay home for a good maybe hour. We got home about 1:45, and we had to be at my grandma's in Delphi on my dad's side. We had to be at her place around 3 or 4. So I took a good nap. About 2:45 to 3:20, I took a nap, and then we headed out. And once again, I had such a great time on my dad's side as well. Like, This year has been such a good year for me and family, and it just feels good. It feels good to be around my family again. And, it's been a long, long time since, I mean, it's been hit or miss ever since about 7 years ago, going on 8 years, my grandpa passed away, and he was always kind of like the glue that held the Tyner family together. He held us together. He was the light of all the holidays. He loved every get together, every little thing, because we would get together on basically every holiday, Father's Day, Mother's Day, any day that couldn't possibly involve family. We got together. We had a cookout. We did something. And once he passed, everybody kind of just started focusing inwards on their own family, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're all getting older. We all have our own families now. I mean, and I'm joining those ranks. I have my own family now with Miranda and Maverick and Nazira, and I get it, but it's still very nice to get us all together and all enjoy it. I felt very weird the last few years at Christmas, ever since my grandpa passed. I felt very weird. I felt kind of like an outcast for some of the choices I've made, like dropping out of college and being heavily tattooed and always like not coming around as much, but that's just me. That's just how I am. I mean, I think that's something that I got from my mom's side of the family. I mean, they're very family oriented as well, but all three of my brothers and I, we kind of just do our own thing. And we don't really talk to each other. We don't really hang out. But when we do, typically when mom's in town, we all get together and we just have a good time. It's not like we don't need to be around each other, but when we are, it's just a good time and we enjoy it and take it for what it is and the time we have and just have a good time, and I don't think a lot of families are like that or understand that kind of way, but it works for us. And if it doesn't work for you, that's great. If you have to be around your family, if you love being around your family, good for you. Like, I think there needs to be more of that. And maybe as I get older, as we all get older, we'll all start hanging out more and enjoy each other's company more often. But until then, I think we're just gonna keep doing what we do. We enjoy what we do, so I'm getting a call from my dad right now. Oh, so have to give him a call back. But yeah, it's so moving from my Christmas at my grandma's, came home, got the kids in bed, and then waited for them to stay in bed, and kind of just chillaxed. Tried to watch the Ellen DeGeneres stand-up special on Netflix. I passed out rather quickly because the night before at my mom's, we had a very rough night. Maverick was sick. Woke us up about 12:30 or 1 in the morning, and we had to go get some medicine for him. Luckily, a Meijer was open 24/7, so we got some medicine there, and roughly around 2:00, Miranda got home, got him medicine, and I ended up sleeping on the couch so she could, because that bed wasn't big enough for all three of us, and she wanted to make sure he slept with us, and so I slept on the couch. Didn't get a lot of sleep. It is what it is. And so I was pretty tired by the end of Sunday night. I was really tired, and it just felt right to fall asleep to Ellen DeGeneres because I wasn't really quite finding it that funny. I mean, she is funny. I'll give her. She's definitely like 10 tiers above Amy Schumer. But I just don't find her hilarious, which Miranda had already seen the special, and she thought it was hilarious. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. I said, I like Ellen. She is funny. But her stand-up was not really hitting me quite as hard as others, like Tom Segura or Joe Rogan or Bill Burr, Joe Coy. Like, those guys are fucking funny. But Ellen, sorry about you. Like, it just wasn't hitting me right. wasn't hitting me. Maybe I was just too tired. I don't know, but regardless. So we went to bed, woke up at 6 a.m. thanks to the lovely Nazira and her internal clock waking her up at 6 a.m. always. I don't think we didn't get to open presents till about 7 or 7:30 on Christmas Eve. Her dad has her for this week, so luckily we had her for Christmas Eve, and we're gonna have them for a little bit of today. We have one Christmas left, and it is at her parents' house. So we're gonna do a white elephant and some saran wrap gift game. I don't know. It's all new to me, minus the white elephant. I'm used to white elephant, but all these games are new to me. I don't typically do them, but it's fun to do. It's fun to try out sometimes. Like, I'm not much of a game person. I'm not much of a trying new things person, but if it's for the family, if it's for my wife, I'll do it. Typically, not always. I'm usually pretty stubborn about it, but oh well. One thing I do want to talk about is yesterday, after we dropped the kids off at their dad's, we went around shopping. I got a $25 gift certificate from just buying the Switch, and on top of that, I got a $10 gift certificate to Best Buy for we did a small white elephant exchange at my mom's. So I had $35 on top of cash back from my credit card and rewards account that I have at Best Buy. So I decided to go get a game. I was going to go get a game or two. And so I picked up Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Dragonball Fighterz. I've been getting harder and harder into Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. And so I've been wanting to get like a game or something where I can just, mess around with all the transformations and fighting and just have a good time with that. I thought about getting Xenoverse 2, but then I saw Fighterz and I'm like, okay, that seems a little less complex and more up my alley. So I finally get a chance to pop it in. We watched Birdcage last night, starring Sandra Bullock and John Malkovich. Few other people that I don't think I know their names. Excellent movie. I don't have anything to drink. It's kind of tired. Kind of tiring to talk by myself. But anyway, so watch Birdcage. It's a good movie. It's an excellent movie. And Tyler told me I had seen the trailer for it already. Tyler watched it. He said it was fantastic. It was phenomenal, and I need to watch it. So Miranda and I, we sat down and we watched it last night. And I think Tyler and I will get more into that next week, hopefully, or next time you hear us all three, because next week is New Year's, and I don't know what's going on for the show next week. I might just throw up another Road to Infinity War clip that we did. I don't know, because the day that this episode drops, this Thursday, December 27th, we will be recording that night Drunkastrophe 2. Brace yourselves. And I toyed around with the idea of that being a regular episode for next week, since I don't know if we'll be able to record next week. But no, it's extra content. You're getting it as soon as it's ready. And it's going to be a doozy, a Drunkastrophe in the new studio and inside a Housecastrophe, as Nate puts it. Special shout out to Nate Phillips, by the way. I hope he's doing great during the holidays. Hope you're doing great, buddy. I had a lot of fun at LaFiCon. Looking very forward to our next hangout, which might be Drunkastrophe. Stay tuned, folks. But yeah, next time Tyler's on the show with us, we're going to talk about Birdcage and hopefully Aquaman, because Miranda and I, we're going to go see Aquaman tonight after all the fun at her parents and her family. Yeah, looking very forward to seeing Aquaman. And in the new East Side 10 theater here in town, they rebuilt it, renovated it, And now we have reclining chairs, comfy reclining chairs. They finally caught up with the times. We're gonna have that higher end fucking theater in town now, and it's gonna be great. Can't wait to see Aquaman. Also still looking forward to seeing Into the Spider-Verse. We didn't get a chance to see it this weekend, but that's okay because I had a blast doing all the stuff that we did. Really, it's been a good time the last couple of days, and I still have basically a week left of my vacation. I work on Thursday. I work 7 to 7 on Thursday. That's a voluntary thing, but I'm gonna be making some good money standing around making sure fires don't happen, and I think it'll be worth it. And I'm gonna come home and basically immediately start the Drunkastrophe festivities, which we'll be pre-gaming with, just like last year. We'll be pre-gaming with an episode of Brews with Dudes, and I'm also really looking forward to that night because I finally get to open my bottle of Dark Lord that Nick gave me for my wedding, and that I loved just the regular Dark Lord this year. The variants were all good, but there's something about just good old Dark Lord that I absolutely loved. So, I guess I'll just go ahead and cut it short. I don't really have a lot to say. I've said all the things I need to say. So, yeah, I hope everybody's having a great, happy holiday. And I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. I certainly did. I might be alone today, or for the most part today, but, that's okay. It's okay. Sometimes we all need some time to ourselves to decompress and just take it all in, what you've experienced, and, think about what's to come. So, once again, Merry Christmas. And be sure, if you're on the Journey into Comics Network, be sure just go ahead and head on over to the Podcastrophe feed, both on Podbean and iTunes. Just search Podcastrophe or Podcastrophe Pod. I'm not sure which to do yet. I mean, maybe both. But either way, subscribe to us on Podbean or iTunes. Just search Podcastrophe or Podcastrophe Pod will come up. And if you subscribe directly to us, you get all the episodes that you hear on Journey into Comics. That's not going to change until they find a show to fill the slot. But you also get a bunch of extra content whenever we do it. And, that comes out basically as soon as it's ready. As soon as I'm done editing it, you get it. And, you can't get that on the Journey into Comics Network feed. But, however, on the Journey into Comics Network feed, you do get Journey into Comics. You get Journey into Wrestling, the voice of survival, Adulting Ain't Easy, Poor Entertainment, Poor News, Brews with Dudes, the Best of the Week show we do every Sunday, Kids for Sale, Gallif Radio, Foodies Watching Movies, and us. You get us. And a bunch of new shows. We got some new shows coming out. I'm not going to talk about them right now, but coming up in January, maybe February, you got new shows coming. I'm gonna spoil it right there. Like, I don't know if Nate don't want anybody to know. I think he's already said something. I can't remember, but you're getting new shows. And there's also a Patreon, Journey into Comics Network Patreon. Give us $1. You get early access. Give us more. I can't remember what the tiers are, but they're there. And you can subscribe to Journey into Comics on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, and all the podcasting forms, like all the platforms. Just subscribe to them because you get all those shows, you get all that content, you get a show a day, every day. Also, oh shit, while I'm thinking about it, I was about to plug Game Addicts because they're part of the Podcastrophe family. Mike and Brando, they're definitely part of the Podcastrophe family. We've had many crossovers with them, or maybe not necessarily crossovers, but we've guested on their show. Brando's definitely guested on our show, and it's always a good time. But I wanted to talk about Dragonball Fighterz. I completely forgot to talk about that. So I popped that in last night after we watched Birdcage, and it was not anything like I expected. ended up being like basically like a 2D side screen fighter. It's an arcade fighter, and I guess it took me a while to realize that it was a mashup of Dragon Ball and Street Fighter, and it's even in the name. It's in the name. It's in. I'm pretty sure the font. Like it's a Dragon Ball Street Fighter mashup where it's just arcade fighter, and I also didn't know that. So the entire time I'm doing it, the game's in English, but all their voices and what they're saying while they're fighting, it's the Japanese dub. So I was just like, God damn it, this is annoying, and it just wasn't a good time. Like everything was very simplistic. The picking of the fighters, there was no transformations. You immediately, like if you're playing as Vegeta or Goku, or Trunks even, you're just automatically Super Saiyan. Like there's no transforming. There's no transforming to the other transformations of Super Saiyan, the other forms. And there's some characters that are locked, like Vegito, Blue Vegito, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegito, and I'm gonna take it back. This game is not for me. I'm probably gonna end up getting Xenoverse 2 and enjoy that because that's the Dragon Ball I know. I was more looking for like a Budokai 3 or anything like that, like where it's like multi-dimensional, I would say, not just left, right, up and down. It's 3-dimensional. So yeah, I'm taking Dragon Ball Fighterz back. Yeah, it's not for me. Not for me at all. Which now I have to decide if I want to get Xenoverse 2 on the Switch or on PS4. Because I'll probably get it for PS4, actually. But if that'll do. Check us out live on Facebook every Tuesday, minus today. Just didn't happen. I didn't feel like live streaming it. I'm all cozy in my PJs. And, yeah, that's all. That's all I got. So, please, guys, make every day a Big Dick Day. And Merry Christmas. Bye, guys.